Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast where we waste our wine so you don't have to. On this episode, we review
Hampton Water Rosé from France.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Aaron here from the Stop Wasting Your Wine podcast, joined by Joel and Colin, two of the best Stop Wasting Your Wine podcasters out there. We're excited to have you back.
Hello.
To dive into everyone's favorite rosé, it seems, over the summertime, Hampton Water.
It is hot right now, both in temperature and this wine flying off the shelves, baby.
Boom. I feel like this is for me, I've had this around forever. I feel like, I'm in Jersey, so Hampton Water makes sense, but this is like relatively newly available for you guys?
Yeah. As past month or so, I think I just started seeing it on the shelves.
Yeah, at least around here. This just hit Central Florida, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but now it's like you picked it up at like Publix, right? Like it's everywhere. It's not like it's not like trickling into your wine shops.
No, they showed up with the semi truck and just unloaded that bad boy. It is everywhere.
No, yeah, up in Jersey, it's a staple, as it is, Jersey royalty, John Bon Jovi related wine. So this is the Hampton Water by Jesse and John Bon Jovi. So that means something extra, a little extra something there.
Sure. Tell me this honestly, though. Is it really, has it been around for forever? Does everybody drink this up there? Are you being funny or are you being truthful?
Truthful. It's very popular.
Okay.
It's very popular. Yeah. It's definitely been around for a while. I would say a couple years. And it's like, if you have folks who like drinking rosé at like a summer event, someone has a bottle of this.
Gotcha.
Really? I'm always so apprehensive about famous people wines.
Super fair.
Because it's usually just the name slapped on some garbage. So,
Yeah,
I don't have high hopes for this, if I'm being totally honest.
I hope that this wine doesn't give love a bad name.
Oh, baby. There it is. Joel is the right host for this show because he's just going to sprinkle in Bon Jovi lyrics.
Hold on. Let me get my list of about 20 of these. I need to cross that one off so I don't say it again later in the episode.
Amazing.
Scratch.
Amazing. No, it's been around for a while. It's popular. I have to say, too, I think celebrity wines fall into like two categories, right? There's either just like a product that exists and a celebrity slaps their name on it. Or a celebrity is just trying to do something else, or maybe in a case like this, there's like a kid in the family who wants to try something and they get their parent involved. And they actually do build it up from scratch. Looking at the history of this wine, it does look like this was a passion project for Jesse and John Bon Jovi, and they brought on Gerard Bertrand from France and actually developed this brand and this wine style. So this is, Bon Jovi wine, but made in France.
Famous people wine made in France doesn't make it any better.
See, this is funny though,
Makes
too.
It made in France.
Instead of growing their grapes and making their wine in New Jersey,
which we know
where
has
apparently
a lot of historic value.
It's happening from a wine perspective, absolutely. They decided to go back to the old world. How about that, huh?
Yeah.
How about that?
Come on,
Bon
John
Jovis?
and Jesse.
Come on, Bon Jovis. You had the opportunity. But maybe it paid off. Maybe the trip to France paid off. All right, well, we're going to discuss this more after we taste it.
Yes.
But let's break it down a little bit and learn more about the wine itself. Joel, what is going on with Hampton Water?
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
It's my life, and it's now or never, so why don't we go through what we're really
It's like a ding tally.
So this is the Hampton Water Rosé from 2024. I got to say, it sounds like a nice blend here of grapes. We got 60% Grenache, 15% Cinsault, 15% Mourvedre, and 10% Syrah. So, not going to lie to you, I'm intrigued by this blend.
Interesting.
Very cool blend.
Yes. So like we mentioned, from France, specifically the Languedoc region, has an ABV of 13%, and we picked this up for about $17. It sounds like, Aaron, you gave us the Northeast report. Sounds like this can go somewhere up to about 25-ish, so 17 to 25. Whoa.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones that is popular, and if you are grabbing a bottle of wine from like your local liquor store, this is one of the ones they're going to mark up into the $25 range, and it's usually like already sitting in the fridge. You know, it's like this and Whispering Angel and a couple others. They just know like folks are going to run through and recognize it and grab it. But if you're getting it from like a Total Wine or an Acme or a supermarket up here, it's, you know, same price range as you guys, $70. But it's actually so popular up here. I got mine for $10 because I got the baby bottle. I got like this, you know, the half
Nice.
guy.
All right.
Nice.
You know,
That's awesome.
and the other unique thing we actually didn't talk about, and I actually freaking hate it, so I hope there's like a good reason for it, is the glass corks.
I am not a fan of the glass cork either. Took me a hot minute to get this one out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I have
At
to
least
use
you
a
don't need
butter
any
knife method.
tools.
Butter knife. I use a butter knife. You pulled this out with
You
your bare
did?
hands.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I just like
gosh.
wiggle it.
Okay.
Joel's got those monster hands. So,
That's the
you
thing.
know, it's easy for him.
I don't have my
Right
Joel
out of-
hands,
right
so
up in
it doesn't work.
Two or three of those things.
Another interesting fact about this wine, I was reading the back of the label, and this is actually aged in French oak barrels. So that'll be interesting to see if that plays a role. I can't think of a rosé where they advertise that fact. So it'll be interesting to see if it really even imparts any kind of flavor into the wine as you would expect it to.
Well, I mean, there's a couple things here that make me excited to try this, you know? So,
The French oak.
yeah,
The
French
fact
oak.
that it might taste like Hampton Water.
Sure.
Let's not talk about the brand
I
because
was going to
it's
say the blend, but yeah.
worst brand in the entire world. There's
God,
nothing.
I'm saying because I know you have strong feelings about this.
Yeah,
Colin, go ahead, let it rip right now. Why have we avoided this wine? Outside of it being more difficult to get in Florida, why have you been reticent to talk about this wine since I brought it up a while back?
Yeah, I don't. There's just something about the name Hampton Water that makes me not want to drink. I don't know. It just sounds like gross rich people water. You know, like I don't. It's. It's just I don't want to drink anything.
The water's
water.
gross or the rich people are gross?
Yes.
I was going to ask a similar question. I was going to say, is it the thought of drinking water from the Hamptons, or like the pretentiousness of Hampton water, like that aspect?
Yeah. No. It's more so. It just makes it sound like. I know they want, you know, the Hamptons has this like, you know, high-end thing going on.
You go to the Hamptons. You go to the beach. It's like, this is what I want to drink at the beach, the Hamptons, and my yacht.
Sounds like
and
wastewater to me.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, it
that's-
could be dirty bathtub water, which is a terrible wine name, you know? Like,
Yeah, right. I don't know. I just don't like it. The brand doesn't hit home with me, but I won't let that change
after
how I feel about
what,
the
what
wine.
you don't know is after the grapes have sat in John Bon Jovi's pool for a year, they then strain it through the filter
made it so
system,
much worse.
and that's how they get Hampton water.
Okay, cool. Well, that makes sense. That checks out.
Thank you, John Bon Jovi. All right,
It's
well,
not true for anybody listening. That's not how this wine is made.
that disclaimer you put in, please don't sue us. We're not suggesting, John Bon Jovi, that you're really filtering your wine water through your pool. So I totally understand what Colin is saying. And part of the reason I actually brought this on the show is because I want us to have a full kind of analysis and thought about whether or not this is a quality wine, because especially up here, it is so popular and it is such a go-to rosé. I think folks should know, like, is this actually a good bang for your buck? Is this a good rosé to grab, or is it just a trend? Because, you know, we've talked about a lot of brands like that, right? And it's just like sometimes trendy is equated to good, and sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not, and we should just name it.
I totally agree. And for the longest time, it seems like this was wanted dead or alive up there in the Northeast. And then when I walked into the shop down here in Orlando, they had this giant display all set up. They were pretty stoked about having it. And, you know, it coincided with the start of summer. So obviously they're trying to extend that whole vibe that they got going on down to the South. And yeah, I mean, you've always talked about it, and I'm right there with you. I am now intrigued. We have the opportunity to see if this mysterious wine you speak of is really good or if it's just bad medicine.
There it is. I was waiting for it. I knew there was one more. I knew there was one more coming, and I was just waiting with bated breath.
So good. I'm
Well done,
so
well done.
impressed.
Ah, so excited.
Unbelievable.
That's 4.
I'm
Nice.
running out, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I got to use the last couple I have very strategically.
I believe in you. You got this. You're crushing it. All right, let's get into it. Let's
It's legendary. Thank
Let's
you.
see if it's worth it.
Tastes like wine.
All right, start off. What are you getting on the nose, Cowball?
Yeah, ton of red fruits. Right off the bat, a lot of strawberry, and a little bit of red cherry in there. I don't know if I read it. Joel's struggling with this glass cork.
Literally those 18 seconds. First, I tried to pour it with the cork in because I didn't notice it was in there because it's glass. And then it took those 18 seconds for me to open this up. So, you know what? I'm with you. It is
Yeah, because you had to commit to doing it with your hands after the scene you made.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm picking up on a little vanilla-y because I read the back of the bottle and it said French oak. Or, I don't know if that was planted in there, but I think I'm getting a little bit of that. Either of you guys picking up on anything else?
I mean, the only thing I would call you pretty much already said it, red fruit. I mean, raspberry, the only specific thing I might call out. But I'm totally with you too. I don't think you were influenced by what you read because there's definitely like a spicy note in there, something coming from that oak.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I'm getting in addition to what you're saying is just like that. It's definitely not like an alcohol-y burn on top of it, but there is that kind of spicy, a little bit extra that we've gotten on some of our Sauvignon Blancs and some of our rosés that we've had recently, which definitely feels like a purposeful trend that some winemakers are leaning towards right now.
Sure,
for sure.
And how about a little bit of minerality? You guys picking up on any of that? Because I ate a little stoniness on the back end, but it's not too much.
I still can't honestly tell you
stoniness,
what
but
that is.
like
I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it.
stoniness, but a very like slate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like very
sure.
clean, very
Yes.
Not
Yep.
there's not a lot of like texture to it. It's just like there's a little bit of a very clean minerality in there. Yes.
Oh, I like that. I will say it smells nice. If it tastes like it smells, we might be in for a treat.
I will say I might be having a little bit of trouble getting really precise smells off my giant goblet of a glass
What is
that I'm
that you
using.
have?
Yeah, I am. In case you haven't noticed by my very interesting new location, I am at my in-laws in Virginia, whose last name are the Peacocks, and so there's a lot of peacock-themed items in their home, including
course.
my peacock-themed glass. So thank you, Lisa, for lending me this, and it's a very large glass, so it's definitely
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
I'm having a great time. It's definitely enhancing my wine experience.
It's interesting on the palate. It's a little bit more citrusy than I was expecting. A little bit less fruity, but still all the things that we called out I think are there. Although I will say I'm not picking up on any of the oak influence on the palate. It's just maybe just an aromatic thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought smelling it, this was going to be a fruit bomb. But what I get is just that minerality. It's just like kind of that clean, like you said, almost steely minerality. It's not bad, but it's almost metallic is what I'm getting anyway. The fruit does really die down. And I want to say I get a little bit of the oak because there's a little like sweetness, but it's not like sugar sweetness. I think it's just kind of the oak vanilla baking spice thing that I'm equating to it, but it's very small. Again, on the sip, it's mostly that intense minerality and some of that. You're right, Joel. I think the citrus is right on.
I mean, super acidic. Really, would you call this tart? Like, I'm getting like a tartness to this. That's just like, or maybe sourness. I don't know.
I would accept either of those. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of tart. I think is a really good descriptor.
And I almost similar to your like metallic comment. I haven't landed on whether or not it is a negative thing. It is just an interesting thing, and it isn't part of the experience of this wine. But yeah, I am noticing that the things that are coming to mind are more about how thin it is, or how acidic it is, or how tart it is, or how metallic it is, and less about how fruity or citrusy or whatever. So it's like more experiential than like flavorful, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it does. I mean I don't disagree at all, but I think in this scenario that's not necessarily a good thing. There are some instances where you notice structure more so than the fruit, but it's because the structure is so nice and it takes you on such an interesting ride. the flavors are just so lacking, I would say, that the structure really takes the front because that's really all there is to it.
I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
And definitely, just from a body perspective, it's like it's there for a second and then it's gone. You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure. I will say the finish hangs around for a while. I think that's where I kind of get some of those baking spices on the finish. It's a really delightful finish, actually. For the rest of the flavors, the finish is really
And I
nice.
think that probably ties into, and again, I don't think it's necessarily getting into a review to name what we're experiencing as possibly why people like it or why people buy it. Like, we're not giving our recommendation, but it's like, I think there's an aspect of that finish and the drinkability of this that makes it a sit by the pool or sit in a boat or sit on the beach rosé, right? Because it's just like very thin, almost water, like kind of refreshing, but then also kind of has that like lasting flavor. So it is tasty. I can see why this is a popular by the pool beverage.
I don't disagree. You know what's interestingly sticking around for me is the acidity. Anybody else have like a lingering, like in the front of my bottom teeth, just like a lingering electricity going on? Nothing else, no flavors or anything, but just like it's just sitting there.
I don't hate that. Now that you point it out,
Right?
it's so interesting.
That
It's
or I
almost,
accidentally ate a battery. I'm not sure.
no, it's like almost on the gums, which is kind of wild.
100%. That's what I'm experiencing over here.
All right. So we pulled some interesting stuff out of there. I mean, there's a lot to think
Yes.
about. It is
Yes.
very interesting that it is a very thin, clear, like seemingly basic flavor wine, but then there's like all this stuff to discuss in there and pull out and all these different lingering flavors and experiences and aspects. So we'll come back to it. In the meantime, and I think this is a really pertinent thing to learn about today, Colin is going to do a quick review on his body. Oh, sorry, I misread that. On the body of wine.
This is the only thing you will learn.
Yeah, I'm slightly overweight and chubby. That's all the
Oh,
review
no,
need.
you are not.
I am.
You are perfect.
It's no, I went to the doctor the other day. I'm 190. That is, whoa, yikes. I gotta.
Yeah, but pure handsomeness.
Yeah. That's
Pure
all muscle,
love.
baby.
Yeah, I wish. Anyway, enough about my body. Let's talk about body and wine. So when we talk about body and wine, we're referring to the weight of the wine in your mouth or how it feels in your mouth. We talked about it a little bit with this wine. Watery, is sometimes a descriptor for wines that don't have a lot of body. Sometimes full is on the other end of that spectrum. A full body wine is going to feel heavier. And body is another structural component that has a fun experiment you can do, much like acid, where you can go lick a lemon or something like that.
Shit.
And get the experience of the acidity in your mouth. With body, it's helpful to think of the difference between skim milk for a lighter body and cream or whole milk on the other end for heavier body wine. So, what affects body in wine? The biggest thing is alcohol. Higher alcohol wines are going to have more body. The other major thing is sugar. So you can actually feel the sugar in a wine on your palate. And as we go down the list, these can stack. So, wines with high alcohol and sugar, like a dessert wine or something like that, are going to be really full body, as opposed to something like this with less alcohol and maybe a little bit of acidity is going to feel a lot less heavy on the palate. Tannins can add texture to a wine, which is not necessarily weight, but it does kind of create the sense of weight because there is something else going on in there. And then the other way, acidity, as I mentioned, kind of makes it feel lighter. So high acid wines usually feel like they have less body. So if you're looking for wine, it's really broken up into three major categories: light body, medium body, and full body. Light body wines are going to be like a Pinot Noir or a Pinot Grigio. Medium body, you're looking at something like Merlot or Sangiovese. And then full body, the big boys, Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah. And that's really what to keep in mind when we're talking about body.
So that's super interesting on a lot of levels, especially since this is a very, very light body wine.
Yes, it is.
The lightest
Almost
of body.
watery.
And
For
it's
sure.
got
The lightest of bodies.
And it's got Syrah in it.
Yeah, but
10%.
that's right. It's such a light amount, and honestly, there's probably not a lot of skin contact in this, so it hasn't extracted all of that stuff that might other stuff like tannins that's going to give it more body. So
Could you
that's
imagine if
probably
that
where this
10% wasn't in there?
Yeah,
This would just be water.
Yeah.
all of the grapes in this wine actually are medium to high body wines. So it's interesting, just based on extraction levels in this wine, that it is so light.
Super interesting. It's funny too because also this is not necessarily a low alcohol wine comparative to some other rosés and white wines that we've had, being 13%. So this is,
13's on like the lower end of medium, so it's not that much alcohol. But you're not totally wrong. You would expect maybe a little bit more weightiness.
I think
with the alcohol.
what I'm getting at is I think there's factors there that would suggest that this should be a little weightier, and the fact that it is so thin must be intentional, right? Like that must be just an intentional aspect of this wine. All right, Joel, did you have something to say? You looked like you were on the edge of something.
I'm just thinking about my next John Bon Jovi song title pun. Yeah.
Okay.
No, we can keep going, though.
I'm sure it'll tee you up pretty good. All right, let's take one more sip and smell of this Hampton Water by Jesse and John Bon Jovi from France.
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi would have been a hilarious wine name.
Better than
That
Hampton
would have
Water.
actually been good. That's a missed opportunity. It's so
Bon
much better than
Jovi.
Hampton Water.
And if they always just talked about it with completely straight faces and just dead serious, I would have bought into that pretty hard. Really appreciate that. All right, gentlemen, anything new, any new inspirations, moment of just enlightenment that has dawned upon you in the past few moments?
Not really.
I was half expecting to go back to it and smell a bed of roses, but no, nothing much has changed.
Is that a Bon Jovi song? Because
Yes.
I might. Okay. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I didn't get that one.
Points.
Great. Okay. No bed of roses. Let's move
Not
into
really.
it. So cool. We've swirled it. We've smelled it. We've sipped it. We've talked about Hampton Water and rich people. Let's get into the review.
Let's do it.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
All right, so here we are once again. We have the Bon Jovis, Jesse and John Bon Jovi's Hampton Water Rosé. Hampton Water, which is actually made in France with famous French winemaker Gerard Bertrand. Very popular in the North, now sold pretty much anywhere, everywhere in the States. Joel, Colin, how are you feeling about this Jersey wine / French wine invading the free state of Florida?
I will say going into this, I didn't know if this was going to be shot through the heart, if this was going to be misunderstood, or if this was going to be, a story of love. And
Well done.
He's so good at it.
Yeah, it's great. Great job. Go on.
these days, I'm kind of just living on a prayer
Keeps
that
getting
I'm going to enjoy it. And I'll tell you what, I do think this was maybe a little misunderstood. Did I already use misunderstood?
You did.
Oh,
But that
scratch it.
flip. Yeah.
No, I'm going to say, look, I went into this with very low expectations. And
That'd be a hilarious Bon Jovi song.
that would be very, that whole thing. Look, I went into this with very low expectations. Coming to you live now, the brand new song from John Bon Jovi. Listen, I went into this with very low expectations. And it's slightly better than my very low expectations. I think this is going to be I'll give it a casual sipper. Listen, it's not trying to be something crazy. It's trying to be something you drink by the pool, like you said, Aaron, when it's toasty out. It's supposed to be refreshing. It's supposed to be light. It's doing all of those things. There was enough for us to talk about to where it was kind of interesting. And then it was, it's just, it's there. And, I will say too, just of the, very, very kind of mass-produced, available everywhere wines. I mean, this is probably one of the better ones I think that we've tried. So casual sipper for me, pleasantly surprised. Thanks, John Bon Jovi and Jesse Bon Jovi.
Would you call this a porch pounder?
Yeah, 100% I would. This is definitely. I think this is
That's the purpose
CPP.
of this. It's a porch / beach / pool pounder. Like
Totally. And it's
but with a caveat that I will put in at my final thoughts. Colin has steam coming out of his ears or his collar or something. So, Joel, anything else you want to say before Colin literally explodes on the screen?
Hold on. Let me look through all of the Bon Jovi song titles I've got up here. No, just thank you for loving me, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Colin?
Yeah. So I don't know if I'd call this a certified porch pounder because I don't want to pound this on anybody's porch. I mean, it's light and refreshing, but like,
Yeah.
I guess if those are the only two criteria, if enjoyable is up there, then I don't know if I could call it that. So
Brutal.
I'm gonna call this a casual backup wine.
Wow.
Wow.
Because there's just not much going on. Honestly, it's just minerals for days. It's a lot of acid, and it's weird acid, like Joel pointed out. There's a little bit of fruit, maybe a little bit of that oak influence, but I don't know. For $16 rosé, there are probably a lot of other ones I'd rather be drinking than this. So, it's a backup wine at best. Just not too much going on, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think the overarching analysis of what you're saying is fair, especially since we now have this weekly getting to try all these wines and see what is possible in so many different ways. I agree with Joe. I do think this is a casual sipper, and I would say this is a porch pounder. But I do think, like, we're also in a world where people are going crazy over the chicken wine, right? And so I think there is a cohort of people that just want a bland kind of just like keeping things relaxed and not punching you in the face and not drying you out and not doing X, Y, and Z. Like I think there's a reason that this is so popular, right? And it's not because it's Bon Jovi's wine, because I would imagine that probably a vast majority of people who are into this wine might not actually know that fact. I think it's simply that it's easy to drink and it's absolutely unoffensive on any level. Yeah. And I guess, like that's also attached to like if there's no movement either in the like some people are going to love this and some people are going to hate this and it's just neutral, then that makes a lot of people happy in its own way. So
Sorry to cut you off real quick. It's funny you say that because Chrissy, my wife, had a sip, and she's not a big rosé fan, and she was like, "Oh, I kind of like this." I was like, "Oh yeah, why? What about it?" She's like, "It doesn't really taste like anything."
There's a value to just walking into the void. Like maybe that's just where everyone is mentally in 2025. There's like I don't want to feel anything right now.
Yeah, maybe.
So I want my drink to reflect my emotions.
So this rosé that just kind of tastes like wine, I guess. This is very winey tasting wine.
So I think
does something for somebody.
So I think your analysis of like I want a good wine is fair, and I think there's like a purpose for this wine that lands on the casual sipper porch pounder world.
I agree, and I just want to expand on something that you said too, which is there's nothing offensive. Like we've had some of these mass-produced wines that have those fakey flavors and all of that good stuff. I don't think that this has that. I think what's
doesn't have
coming
that, but what are you
through
defining as not offensive? That minerality is just that. It's like
the balance isn't perfect.
But at a certain point, Colin, you were also like, I have this feeling in my mouth, and I think I might like it. Like you were like, it's like sneaking up on you.
Interesting, but
at the end of the day, it's either nothingness or slightly more interesting than nothingness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a drain
I'm
wine.
Drinking this and I'm like, ugh. It's just kind of right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's a backup.
Now I will say this. I will say this too.
You know what? I would be more easily convinced that this is a backup versus a casual sipper. Like that's not you wouldn't have to twist my arm to make me say that. But what I will not budge on is that this is a CPP. I mean, this is exactly what you're looking for.
I'm not drinking this
for
on
a
anybody's
certified
porch.
pounder.
No.
I hate to tell you this, Colin, but
disagree.
you're not the target audience for CPP people out there.
No, that's not true. I love a nice CPP. This isn't it.
I'm just saying you're just not the target audience. Like
Not for this. Absolutely not. No, for sure.
No, I will say. I'll say this too: don't buy this for $25. Like
Oh,
if,
yeah,
if
absolutely
you're
not.
if you're in your
Oh, my
local
God.
liquor store and you see this on the shelves and it's $24, $25, $26, don't do it. Buy the chicken wine. Like if you're like
No,
if you're
don't buy the chicken one.
I'm just saying, like, if you're twisted and those two things are sitting there and the chicken wine's marked up to 70 and this is marked up to 25, the chicken wine's less painful at that point from a price point, like, in my opinion.
If that's what you've
I
narrowed
would agree
down
with
to
that.
in your head, I implore you to try new rosé.
That's fair.
Keep listening to our show. We
That's
will
right.
find better rosé for you at a better price. No, 100%. I'm just saying, like, don't buy this marked up. If it's if it's mass produced and it's available at your Publix and it's $16 and you need to buy a bunch of bottles of wine for your barbecue, like, to me, this is something fine to toss in your bag to have in a cooler that's going to make a bunch of your people happy, or at the very least not offend anybody.
Not at my barbecue.
Don't spend over $20 on this bottle.
I agree with that. Yeah, if people open up the cooler on the boat, and this is poking out, nobody's gonna be mad at that.
They're gonna be mad they can't get the glass cork out because there's no butter
That's
knives
true.
on the boat. To get it.
That's probably true.
They're gonna be using the end of the anchor to like pry the tip off.
Hey, where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay, so here we are. Majority rules. This is a casual sipper and a CPP, but all points of concern are valid. If you want a really exciting rosé or something that's just really gonna like tickle your taste buds or be in that category of like high quality rosé, this isn't it. This isn't it.
Can I go ahead? Can I ask that we on this one, because this is a very interesting one. Can we go around and say if this is a waste of our wine? I know we don't
Ooh,
usually
sorry.
do this,
Yeah, absolutely.
only if it's questionable. And I think this one might warrant a conversation.
I think there's some asterisks. There are some heavy asterisks. Asterisks. There are some asterisks here. All right, Colin, I'm gonna make you go first. Is this a waste of your wine?
Yeah, that's fine. I think personally, yes. But I
fair.
also understand what you guys are talking about. Like, are a lot of people going to like this? Sure. But, I'm never buying it again at any price. So, yeah, waste your wine.
Okay, Joel, waste of your wine.
I'm really torn. I'm
Oh,
very,
shit.
very torn because this might be one of those ones where, like, at $25, waste of your
Totally.
wine.
That's Maastricht.
100%.
That was Maastricht. I was gonna
Right?
put it right there. Yep.
Okay, sorry if I'm stepping on your toes.
No. I'm just glad. I'm glad you're right there. Go ahead.
At $13, this would not be a waste of your wine.
I don't think it sells for $13.
Sure.
Trying to
I don't
decide
even
about
disagree with that.
17. Where I land.
If this was
on
the same
spectrum
price as
here.
the chicken wine, sure.
Yeah.
I'm in.
And I can't
But
say
it's
that the
not-
margin of enjoyability is that much higher than the
That-
chicken
I was
wine.
just going to say that. It's not. It's double the price, but is it double the quality? Absolutely.
But again,
not.
think about the reaction from like Chrissy. My wife also loves this wine. There, like it is. If I'm just saying, like, saying this is a waste. My
Does your wife
asterisk is-
also love the chicken wine?
No, she's passive on it.
Oh, okay. All right.
But like, I think you're because you're in that middle. I'm giving you a second to think about. Like, I don't think this is a waste of your wine. It's $17. I think it's $17. It's slightly better than your chicken wine kind of categories, and that is still a pretty cheap bottle of wine, and it's one that a lot of people like, and a lot of people are going to drink. There aren't you like. To me, a waste of your wine is a wine you're going to buy and you bring it in and you overspent on it, or you have it out there and people just aren't going to enjoy it, or you're not going to enjoy its low quality. People like this wine, and at $17, grabbing a bottle of wine that you know a lot of people are going to like is a pretty good deal. At $25, it is absolutely a waste of your wine. Do not buy this wine at $25. Big ol' asterisk.
I am gonna put the threshold quite literally at like $18.01. If you find this for over $18.01, waste of your wine. I got this for $17. So I'm going to officially vote not a waste. But this is a razor thin margin on this one.
Man, my graphic for this is going to be like, is this a waste of your wine? And the next page is just going to be text. It's just gonna, it's going to look like a legal disclaimer.
Can you play that song over it?
Absolutely. All right, so by skin of your teeth, not a waste of your wine, but 18 asterisks attached to that. Very specific scenarios where you should drink this wine. Do not bring this to dinner. Do not give it to your friend as a gift.
Definitely not.
Oh, God, no.
Unless you hate that friend. Then by all means.
Or your friend has previously expressed that this is their favorite rosé. In which case,
Sure.
go ahead and give it to
Yeah,
them.
if you like it, drink it. Listen, I'm not trying to yuck your yum, but there's just better rosé out there. That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're someone who loves rosés and you have a high quality for rosés and you've never tried this wine, use this episode as an opportunity to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm probably not going to love this wine. Like, quite frankly. But if you're someone that just likes, chill basic wines, literally chilled basic wines,
Welcome. Yeah.
you might like it. Yeah. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the Hamptons.
joke.
All right. Fantastic, gentlemen. Well, that was a remarkably thick discussion for such a thin wine.
Oh, well done,
Oh,
sir.
man. Talking about body.
Hey. Excellent. All right. Well, a lot of fun. Before we get out of here, should we play a quick game?
Yes.
All right, guys. Let's play a quick game of Pick Your Poison.
Pick your poison. Pick your poison. Pick your poison.
A reminder, in this game, we give you two pretty awful scenarios, and you have to decide which one you'd rather pick. All right, so, Colin, kick us off. What's your Pick Your Poison scenario?
All right, pick your poison. You're either spending a week in the Hamptons with awful wine, you can only drink terrible wine, or you're spending a week at an airport Hampton Inn, but you're able to drink some of the best wine in the world.
That's good.
Oh, good God. You know what? I'll take the week at the Hamptons with crappy wine. I will pretend to enjoy the wine and be in the Hamptons. I don't like being in a sketchy hotel. I don't like it.
Are we talking like really good wine? Like
Oh yeah, like some of the
Really
best,
good
whatever wine you want. Yeah, like
sign
the
me up for
best
the airport
wine.
Hampton, baby. Let's go. You get free breakfast? Come
Ew,
on.
continental all day.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Give me another stale bagel to go with my.
yeah,
It's
Burgundy.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think I'm staying at the Hampton Inn too. I'll take it. Give me that wine, baby.
Dopest one with a side of scrambled eggs. Let's go.
That's right.
Love it.
Oh,
Aaron,
God.
do you have one?
Oh, man. Yeah, okay. In honor of this bottle here, pick your poison. All of your wine bottles have glass corks. Or all of your wine bottles are made of cork.
What?
Okay. Like the whole bottle is made of cork?
Yeah, and they have a cork. But if you
there's too
choose
much
the other way, everything has a glass cork.
Okay, I'm going glass cork. Listen, I don't know why you guys are dogging it so hard. You don't need a key, a wine key? That's amazing. I never have a wine key when I need one, so I'm going glass cork. Let's do it.
All right, fine.
Yeah, I'm not even sure the logistics of the cork as a bottle thing. So I'm
put that
I'm
aside.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that. So I guess I'll just go glass corks because I don't know how the other one would affect my wine drinking life.
I
Yeah,
yes-anded Aaron's proposal pretty hard, and I just want everybody to appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I only had the concept of a plan going into this one, so I just went with it. Yeah. No, I
The
hate the
listener
glass.
at home, he was the first one to come up with his, and he was so proud of it. He was like, I'm ready. I got mine.
Yo, I don't even know. Like, this is how mad I am. I don't even know what would happen with I'm going cork bottles. Like, I won't know what I'm drinking. I don't know what's in there. I don't even know how that works. Like, I don't know if you
You can
just
still
like
put a
you
label
just
on it.
break the top off. Like,
That would travel
I
so
hate
poorly.
these glass corks so bad. I hate them so much. I can't get it off. Like, it's just the dumbest. Why? Like, why? I think these bottles would look really classy with a little cork in there. I don't know.
Sure. Okay, let me redeem this segment.
The way most wine comes, just put a cork in it. You know, who's thought of that?
I'm just saying.
Cork.
If it ain't broke.
Sure.
Please bring us home, Joel.
All right, here's my proposal. You ready? Pick your poison. Pretty good cover band doing all Bon Jovi songs for 2 hours. You can't leave. Or 2-hour intimate set with Bon Jovi on an acoustic guitar, but he only plays bop over and over and over again. Pick your poison. It's like 17 different variations of bop, though. Like, he's thought about this for a while.
You give me John Bon Jovi playing Mbop.
100%. 100%.
I mean, that would be. I don't know
What
how
a great story.
Yeah, and not only that, but if you can really make Mbop sound great 17 different times,
I didn't
then I'm
say
here
that
for
he could make it sound great. I just said it's bop over and over and over again for 2 hours,
Listen,
mind you.
I loved that song as a child, so let's roll with.
That's fair enough.
John
I'm
Bon
taking
Jovi
the band,
all
by the
day.
way. Are you?
Yeah, it's a real good cover band.
Yeah, I'm taking the cover band, man. Give me the feels. What, I'm going to see Billy like, hi, John Bon Jovi, you're really cool. Thanks for playing bop for 2 hours. No.
I'm sorry, we
Band
don't all
with
get to
me.
rub elbows with famous
hang
people
out.
like you do, Joel.
You don't?
I'm sitting. You said intimate setting, so I'm just imagining a very small room with just me and John Bon Jovi, and he's staring deep into my eyes while singing bop for 2 hours. Sounds great.
Tell me
Why would
more.
I? And I'm drinking Hampton Water.
Oh, God.
Well, then give me the band. I'm out.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, that was fun. All right, everyone. Thanks once again for listening. We are so excited to have you, and we love that you join us every week. Joel, if they wanted to continue interacting with our lovely podcast, how would our listeners do so?
Yeah, Instagram, the best place. Just go there, search Stop Wasting Your Wine. That's where we're hanging out most of the time. Outside of that, find us on YouTube, find us on Spotify. We're really kind of just all over there. Stop Wasting Your Wine on all these places. You can just go in and Google Stop Wasting Your Wine. We'll pop right up there. Whatever mode sounds the most fun to you. And then, listen, if you haven't already just given our wherever you're listening to us right now, a follow, please go ahead and do that. That'd be great. You could also catch us on stopwastingyourwine.com, see everything that we've reviewed, and, keep up with what we're doing there. That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel. All right. Once again, y'all, this was the Hampton Water by Jesse John Bon Jovi. And we said it was a casual sipper, not a waste your wine by the skin of your teeth. And
They said that.
wow.
They said that.
They-
He's separating himself
this
from
is
us
a
and our designation.
democracy. All right, y'all. We'll catch you next week. Bye, y'all.
I thought I'd never say goodbye, but who says you can't go home? Remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye.
You love me.